Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much for joining me here. Hope you're having a fantastic day. We're taking a look here at Bitcoin. And yes, you are correct. You are seeing things absolutely accurately. I am back home, settled in. It was a nice little trip up to, actually went up to, Indiana for to meet the future in-laws. It's a really cool place. Anyways, talk more about that later, but it was literally a cold place. There's no doubt. It was really cool compared to what I'm used to here in Arizona. So either way, again, looking at Bitcoin, seeing what's going on, we're seeing a surge in price here recently, mainly because we are seeing an increase here, right? So just in Jerome Powell, of course, adjusting the market as per usual. We expect 2023 to be a year of significant decline in inflation. Okay, so that generally speaking is going to increase the price as a fundamental catalyst. Even though Bitcoin is looking like it wants to continue lower, there's that new breath of fresh air, you could say. All right, so we're going to take a look and see what that means for us, but that is a positive sign nonetheless. So just be cautious and careful right now in the market because the fundamentals can throw things off, right? As soon as that buzz wears off, we could still see the price continue lower. We haven't established higher highs and higher lows just yet, so trying to get ahead of yourself. That being said, I love teaching people to trade. Hope you can learn something here today. We've got a new website up and running here, so be sure to check that out, cryptocash.tech. Link down below, of course, and if you want to become a member, consider joining. We've got really awesome traders here in the community. So take a look here. We took some healthy profit here, 25% from BNB recently. That was just a couple days ago, of course. I'm planning to send out some signals very, very soon, but for the moment, you got to enjoy what you can get because a lot of the things in the market right now are kind of funky, but we got some awesome traders here. Take a look at this here. K71 for some nice longs for NKN. Haven't heard that one in a while. HBAR as well as IMX. So picking up some really nice altcoins there. Good job, K71. Love it. Also, of course, fantastic work from Shannon Green. Good job. Keep up the good work there too. LRC long. Look at this. Gala long. REN as well. Haven't seen a REN trade in a while. That's awesome. Keep up the good work. And they're all using some awesome exchanges too. I've got an affiliation with Bitget. We're running a competition right now. Prize pool monthly there. Same thing with ByBit as well. They have significant deposit rewards. I recommend using them if you're going to be using Cornix, which is my automated trades. And then of course, last but not least, we have an affiliation with MEXC. I like them because they offer trading in the United States, leverage trading with no VPN. Okay, so again, traditionally speaking, VPN is required. It will be for Bitget and ByBit, but currently right now MEXC Global is not requiring that. So be sure to check this out. We have a nice event going right now for the next 16 days. Anyway, that being said, taking a look here at Bitcoin, the price is kind of pulling back a little bit. We saw this little bit of a surge here. That's right when that news came out. So it's going to be interesting to see if this holds or if this will continue to retrace. Because as we can see, we're kind of getting this somewhat of a wedge pattern there forming there where in most cases it will break either direction a lot of times depending on the overall sentiment, but generally speaking we were looking at a potential breakdown because we are still, regardless of how nice this little pump is, we are still having lower highs and lower lows. Okay, so you can kind of see the lower highs and lower lows kind of just continuing down, kind of making a type of channel, you could say, and that's essentially pushing the price action lower. Now keep in mind, a lot of times those descending channels can work as, those are basically flag patterns where the price will continue higher from there. So we could be seeing the start of that right now. But for lack of better terms, we're breaking below that descending trend, the ascending trend, creating a new descending trend, causing us to potentially see further retracement. So I'm going to be looking for a candlestick closure today and see if we can get above this 23,300 mark. As I mentioned in yesterday's video, with that being the most recent low, just before it broke down, you can expect that to be a most recent high, whereas the price action might come up here and eventually break upwards. That could kind of give us that double bottom or whatever. There's a lot of different patterns kind of forming here, depending on what time frame you look at. So again, the larger the time frame, the better. And right now, so far, we're still kind of holding above this ascending trend. Even though we closed yesterday below it, today, if we close above it, we're back on track. Okay. So mostly good stuff there in that sense. Let's take a look at some standard stuff, of course. We got RSI still tapering off, but also increasing, trying to push back up through 70. We're not close there yet, but generally speaking, it's a positive sign to kind of see that bounce. We can see the increase in volume, or rather the volume actually coming down, and that's what this green line is here, right? It's the money flow index, basically telling us how much volume it correlates in the last 14 days versus the actual amount of price, right? So the white line is price, green line is volume, essentially just telling us that we have money leaving the market, but just in the last hour, we saw that push, that increase, so to speak, to go higher. So as the money flow index increases, the RSI should as well. They kind of work in tandem, but a lot of times you can kind of generally understand what's going to happen next with that. For the moment right now, we were expecting further downside, but at this point, with that new fundamental catalyst, we can expect the price action to possibly continue higher. A closure above 23.3 to me seems like a fairly indicative increase from here. If we close below that, it feels like we should be able to continue to see lower lows and lower highs. If we look at the MACD, we can see we're still diverging, but we're kind of plateauing here, so to speak, for the moment. So once again, if the price closes where it's at or higher, we should be able to see potential further upside, and that's starting to dissipate. It'll continue to increase if we actually the price action goes lower, obviously, right? You have that momentum, it'll continue. That's basically what we're looking at. Taking a quick look here at the simple moving average, you can see we've got this golden cross here forming. And this is not a guarantee, but good chance that we're going to see further upside based on that sentiment. Okay, now it doesn't necessarily mean that just the price takes off because of it, but it does imply that we have a nice support level here. So if the price goes sideways for some time, we should experience further growth upwards. Okay, that's really what it means. It doesn't necessarily mean to just go full on long position at that one moment when we get a convergence, but it's absolutely a positive thing. But the thing here we got to recognize too is that we're still maintaining above the 20-day SMA, and that's very good. Okay, so again, a closure right there, the 23,000 mark, or a little bit higher, would be optimal to see or expect further upside from here. Okay, so looking good there as well. Take a look at the 4 hour really quick. See what's going on. We can see this current 4 hour candle that just started kind of dissipating a little bit. We can also see an increase in the amount of volume. Okay, that's a really good sign there in that sense, whereas the RSI is breaking through 50. So that could really be that resistance area that we're looking for, but again, a little too early to tell. The thing that is positive here is this MACD here, basically telling us that we have a moving average convergence upwards, right? The 12 is intersecting with the 26 in upward fashion, essentially giving us that catalyst, telling us that the shift in momentum has occurred from bearish, this little guy here, to bullish, all right? So we could very well see price action in this range here between 23,000 and 23.4, 23.5, possibly even breaking above that. If we break above 23.5, that should give us a retest of 24K. That's essentially what we're looking for. A little too early right now, again, to anticipate, but generally speaking, looking fairly positive. I'd be cautious and careful of taking a short position right now. I was considering a short in the last 24 hours. I'm glad we didn't take one, just based on that, again, that fundamental catalyst. You can never truly anticipate those things. It just kind of happens sometimes, right? So if you got kind of stuck in a short position right now, I know that kind of sucks. Not necessarily saying it won't still work, but generally speaking at this point, it does look like it has a little bit of momentum, and we got some strong indicators, both moving averages and a convergence, telling us we have potential further upside from here. Again, this candlestick closure today I think is really important, and that would be kind of the thing that I'm looking for to take some long positions, but it does feel like we are tentatively in the clear. Let's go ahead and see where we're at in the cloud here, because this makes me very curious where we're at here. So we are officially above the cloud. Okay, perfect. All right, so this is a really good sign. It basically tells us, and again, we're tentatively above. I like to see a couple of hours of closure above this level. But generally speaking, that tells us that we're lagging span is free and clear of the price action. Conversion lines above the baseline, giving us that momentum. We see that on the 4 hour time frame. Furthermore, also, we can see that we are looking pretty darn good here to be above both upper and lower lead. So next couple hours, we should see an average out in about 23.1, 23.2, and then likely further upside from here. Because again, daily, we have a golden cross, typically a good sign that we're moving in the right direction. We're on the right side of the tracks. We're still maintaining above the 20-day SMA as well. 4 hour, we got some pretty good indication there also with the MACD convergence and a small handful of other things, RSI peaking up over 50. Ultimately, looking fairly bullish here on the tentative time frame. And again, I like to say tentatively bullish because there's no guarantee. Just because it runs up to 24,000 doesn't mean it's going to break that level. We have to reevaluate when we get there. But for the moment, I think we're looking fairly positive here to see potential further upside, at least a retest of this range of 23.3 to 23.5, and to possibly even break above that level. We want to get above this resistance here, which we can kind of see currently working in place. It's rejecting the price action initially. Again, the most recent low works as a resistance level now that we've broken below it. So we can expect it to continue over here. Likely we'll see an average out here and then the price breaks through eventually if we can continue to break that level. So again, establishing higher lows will be important. That's the first step in a trend reversal. And we're almost seeing that right now. So What does this mean for us? Well, it looks like we're in pretty good shape. Let's take a quick look at CC Golden Indicator here. This is going to be an option available for my traders on my website very, very soon. Some of my grandfathered community members might refer to it as the EMA VWAP indicator. Basically, it takes the EMA 15 and the volume weighted average price and tells you roughly when good entry points are. Okay, so if we take a look here, these little green flags kind of tell you when you have multiple flags in a row, kind of giving an indication that taking a long position here could have been advantageous. Again, this is a fundamental catalyst, not necessarily exact science, but generally speaking, a lot of times it'll give you indication to get in and where to potentially get out with the white X. Okay, so again, something that's available perhaps in time, but for right now, telling us that we're on the right side of tracks. We're above both the exponential moving average and the volume weighted average price, which is huge because it tells us based on the last 24 hours, expressing itself as a price, the volume is telling us that pretty much 23,000 even is considered a support level. So now we've got that extra confirmation. So we've got confirmations on every single time frame telling us further upside would make more sense at this point. Again, that fundamental catalyst could just be exactly all it was, just a brief little blip. But honestly, in the big picture, we could very well see some movement upside. I'm willing to speculate we'll see further upside, but here's the thing. We want to double check and make sure we pay attention to this here because, again, you can see this current rejection here at this level. It wants to come back down and break below. So that could very well happen. Honestly, truly don't know. That's why we wait for confirmation. So I'd recommend waiting for the price action to kind of average itself out above the cloud at 23,000. Closure above 23,000 to me would be very positive. I would like to see that. Closure below would indicate that we have further downside because in this most recent push isn't able to sustain itself. Okay, so you can kind of see this here, right? See this little resistance level? That's not exact. Hold on, let's make it a little more visible. So you can kind of see this guy here. This is proving as a resistance right there at about 23,050. So that could be the new support level if this can hold, right? Because we broke through that resistance level. Hypothetically, we get a bounce here and moving upwards. So I'm going to pay close attention to that level and see if it's worth taking a long position. All right, that's all I got for you. Thanks so much for joining me here. Hopefully this was helpful. I know it was a little extra wordy today, but I like to make sure you understand different things to look for because we got mostly positive stuff here for the moment. If we can close at 23K or higher, I think we're going to be in pretty good shape to see further upside. Thank you so much for joining me here. Hope you have a great rest of the day. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Take care.